Hi, this is Lorraine, and I've been guided to create another video. If you'll give me a minute to clear, center, and balance my energy, we'll get started. Shortly after finishing the last video, it was very clear what this video would be about. I received a very strong and very clear message that I'm going to share with you. And that message was, you've come into my house uninvited. And this is in reference to me touching the darkness. My immediate response to that was, on the contrary, I was not only invited, I was provided a key. This is, and then this, the very strong messages all week on what would follow had come in, and these aren't new messages. These are messages that I received. The messages I received last week were new messages, but they're in reference to messages I received quite a while ago. I thought it was in the last few years, but when I went back into my old journals, they're from 2021. And this is in reference to understanding the darkness, understanding the unbalanced energy, understanding the reconciliation of duality, but most specifically, understanding this archetype that we have come to define as demonic, devil, Lucifer. So I received a very, very clear message. And I had a very clear vision. And the vision was a masked figure in front of me. The mask was, I would say, indigenous, and it reminded me of a tiki mask, like something I had seen in Hawaii as a child, as well as a Chinese, traditional Chinese dragon. So a combination of the two. And what had happened was the mask was removed, and what I had seen behind the mask was a very bright light, and it was angelic. And the very clear message was that this energy that we identify as a devil or Lucifer is not actually that thing. This is, and this recently, it was never referred to, it was never referenced this way in 2021, but this past week it was referenced as the angel of temptation. This angel does not embody darkness or unbalanced energy. This energy, this angel is very balanced, and it represents temptation. It doesn't embody this unbalanced energy. It offers temptation. And what came through very strong this week was that this is probably one of the strongest angels in the legion of what we know as archangels, because this angel walks in darkness all the time and still remains balanced. It doesn't indulge in darkness. It only offers temptation. And what I want to do is I just want to read what I wrote, and I have two drawings. I did a very rudimentary drawing, but this is the one I spent more time on to try to get the details of the mask. This is, I'm going to read my notes because I really can't articulate it the way that I have written. And this is from July 16th, 2021. A wise man is not cowed by knowledge. Instead, he uses it to guide him. I could not deny, I could not defy you, even if I wanted to. And that is very important, and I'll explain that shortly. In the middle of the night, it is a mask. It is a mask. Okay, so this happened in the middle of the night. I had this vision. It is a mask representing the false fronts projected by those embodying the deepest, darkest parts of the negative polarity. I am not bad. I am not evil. I am of the light, representing facets of darkness. Then the mask and everything else fell away. This energy presented itself as an angel, then said, "There are no fallen angels." The feeling yesterday was that darkness has turned into light. The darkness, the negative polarity had manifested onto this world, has been transmuted into light energy. The implications of this, they must begin a new wave of negative energy, signifying the need for the start of the culling. This angel bowed to me. I cannot deny you or defy you. I am you. And so this angel revealing itself was a signified the beginning of a transition. And this statement of I could not deny you, I could not defy you, even if I wanted to, was about the representation of this angelic being from a balanced state. It is not here on this world to project darkness, to be demonic or be a devil. It is here to tempt humanity in this phase of its evolution. And just as we're going through this process of divergence, what do you put your faith in, right? We're asked that question every day as we navigate this world. Similarly, this angelic being placed before us opportunities of temptation. Did we partake in that temptation? Did we indulge to an excess? And so, and what came through today was the 7 deadly sins. So wrath, sloth, greed, lust, envy, gluttony, pride. And do we engage in those to excess? And then this leads to addiction, right? Obsessive behavior in this area. Or have we resisted? How have we tempered ourselves and lived our lives in balance? Have we allowed ourselves to be in service to ourselves or to others, right? How have we engaged the world? How have we engaged every part of the world? And although I know not everyone is Christian and not everyone is versed in understanding what the 7 deadly sins are, I do feel like they define some of our more lesser qualities that we tend to delve into. We as a society utilize our accomplishments, the things we have achieved and the things that we own or have obtained, we use these as justification for our behavior. Our behavior that could be conceived as or perceived as gluttonous, prideful, greedy, wrathful, right? We justify our accomplishments. We justify our behavior based on our accomplishments. This is what this angel was here to do. Tempt us. Tempt us. And see what we would do. And this was one of the phases or benchmarks in our process of evolution, of growth, and then eventually of transcendence. The other vision I had, this was May 29th, 2022. I have this vision right here. Right before a video I did, and the notes I have are: the dark angels will remove the darkness from Mother Earth. They honor balance in the universe. They honor the divine. They are not what we perceive them to be, and perception is what creates our reality. As I reconcile this truth over the years, I understand that there is no difference between left and right, light and dark, good and evil. These are constructs of this world that have been put in place to create this reality that we are existing within, to help us and the divine see what we can possibly be. And as we get to this phase of transcendence and we reconcile, we're starting to reconcile this energy, this unbalanced energy with balanced energy, this idea of duality, as we reconcile these two things as unity, as wholeness, as one, as not different but the same. We neutralize what we perceive as darkness. We neutralize what we perceive as unbalanced energy. And I have integrated that black or dark energy into my energy field. And the very strong vision I had today was that dark black energy within my energy field being a shield. So when I talk to people about stones, or black stones specifically, any black stone, black I perceive it as either absorbing the negative or unbalanced energy before it gets to my field, gets into me, or deflecting it. Either way, I believe it's the same thing. And so as I have this energy, this black energy in my energy field, it deflects or absorbs any ill intention towards me, because I have integrated it and neutralized that energy field, that intention behind that archetype, right? That archetype of darkness, that perception of darkness, that perception of unbalanced energy. I don't submit to it the same way I don't submit to fear. It is put in place to make me feel inferior, make me feel intimidated, make me feel small, make me feel powerless. And if I allow it to, if I give it that power, then it has succeeded. But the work that I've done helped me to heal myself and open myself up to a whole new perception of this experience. And so when I read that line to you, I could not deny you. I could not deny. I could not defy you, even if I wanted to. It's because it no longer sees me as something different. It has now become a reflection of me, with the same intention, with the same goal of creating change in the most beautiful way and transcending this, not only this world, but all energy on it. All energy integrated here, all energy aligned with the intention or the transition of Mother Earth. So it is no longer in conflict with me. It has now become aligned with me, and we work together. So I'm going to take this, and hopefully you're understanding and grooving with this. That's what just came in. I hope you're grooving with what's being said. When beings on this world who choose to worship this unbalanced energy, who choose to worship this angelic being of temptation as a demonic or a energy that helps them manifest their hopes and desires on this world, they have given in to the temptation that has been offered to them. But again, this angelic being has not embraced or lived in a state of temptation, lived in a state of unbalanced energy. This energy, which is, I will say, Lucifer, and I don't want to I hope I'm not upsetting anybody, but I strongly believe the Bible has been manipulated. I only believe in the good and the beautiful things that are meant to help us come together and help and support one another. Anything negative, I believe, is a manipulation. And I do believe that this energy has been demonized intentionally to create fear. But this being is truly angelic and has not fallen. And I strongly believe in that, and that is my truth. You do not have to agree with me at all, but this message has been coming in since 2021, and it has guided me to this place where I am very confident in my connection to the divine and the messages that I receive, and I do not have fear. I do not fear this energy one bit. And that is why when that message came in, you came into my house uninvited, because I was walking into the darkness, touching the darkness and breaking that energy down. I knew very strong, without fear, that that was meant to make me feel small again. That was meant to intimidate me. So I had to respond in a way that showed my confidence in my connection to the divine and the messages I received. I would not have been allowed access to that space without being invited. And I would not have been allowed access into that space without unlocking the keys and the codes necessary. And the keys, the codes, and the invitation to come into that space was provided by this angelic being. This piece of the divine consciousness that said, now it is time to break down this energy. This energy now needs, this unbalanced energy, the individuals worshiping this unbalanced energy now need to instill fear, insecurity, anger, resentment in us to keep that flow going. But that unbalanced energy is breaking down. that unbalanced energy that was worshiping what they perceived as demonic, they perceived as something that was giving them what they wanted. It was their belief. It was their belief and their commitment to that demonic energy, that unbalanced energy, that energy that they felt empowered them, that kept them driving forward. But that energy truly did not empower them. That energy offered the temptation, and then they took it and ran with it. They became the most greedy. They became the most prideful. They became the most wrathful. They became all the things, the most gluttonous. They became all those things to the greatest degree that they possibly could, to obtain the control, which is another construct, but to gain the perceived control that they wanted, that they sought, that they desired so deeply. And so they have been the driving force behind this unbalanced energy. That message came through very, very clear. Because what we need to understand is, at the root, there is no duality. Unity is whole and one, complete. If you give me a minute, let me see if anything else comes. I am reminded that when I was looking for the drawings that I had done of the mask, I am reminded or informed that that interaction with that angel of temptation was my first lesson in understanding energy and alchemizing unbalanced energy. That was my first lesson in understanding how to reconcile the good and evil, or the light and dark. And also the angel, it's not only one angel of temptation. The same way Archangel Raphael is an angel of healing and has legions of angels that it works with, this angel of temptation is equally an angelic being, an archangel, if you will, who has legions of angels working with it to help us evolve and transcend. And we would call it the devil or demons, but they are not truly the devil or demons. They are angelic beings that have been placed in this field, have been created in this universe to provide temptation, just like Raphael provides healing. Just as I think it's Michael that is God's warrior, right? So I just wanted to share that. It's a very important lesson. I knew it was an important lesson when I first had that message come in, and I hope you can receive this information in a way that can help you grow and understand and reconcile duality, and know that this is a necessary part of transcendence. Please feel free to ask questions in the comments. Please feel free to ask questions in the comments. I know this might be an upsetting topic, but it is a necessary part of our transcendence. It's necessary for us to understand this. And this is a perfect example of how the archetypes that have been put in place are breaking down and changing. Okay? All right, that's it. Thank you.